Hey, listen, everybody. This is Steve Harvey, and I am a huge fan of the Jalen and Jacoby show. In the words of Jalen himself, undercut with the OJs. Got to give people what they want. You can get it right here on Jalen and Jacoby.
He is Jalen Anthony Rose.
What up, dog?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in,
Together we're Jalen Jacoby. What is it that we do?
we give the people what they want.
The people want live sports, and the NFL gave us the idea, the hope that live sports will be upon us when they release the schedule. Something that I don't pay that much attention to under normal circumstances, but I certainly don't pay that much attention to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers schedule. But that is all I cared about last night. And Tom Brady in Tampa Bay has not one, not two, but three, four, five primetime games. Starting off against the Saints. What do you think about the Bucs schedule?
So I'm just so very happy for Tom Brady and this amazing new opportunity that gives him a legitimate chance to be one of the best teams in the NFC. And if they continue to nurture themselves, get to the Super Bowl. But I want to caution everybody to try to act like this one season is going to determine who was more responsible between Belichick or Brady for their championship runs. Brady has one or two seasons in order to play quarterback to make this happen. Belichick needs to rebuild his team offensively because he lost a franchise quarterback and the GOAT in my mind and many others. But as it relates to playing against the Saints, Jacoby, the thing that separates New Orleans besides the camaraderie and the heartbreaking losses the last few seasons that they've had, especially in an offseason where it won't be normal, is in the backfield. Alvin Kamara. We talk about all of these great stars around the league, but as I look deeper into their squad, he's a really dynamic player that didn't have an all-pro season. If he could get back to the level that he played at when they had Mark Ingram as his hype man, that right there could possibly be a game changer for New Orleans.
I think that Kamara is going to have a huge bounce back season this year, strictly because this year he will not be on your expensive fantasy team. Another team that you and I have been keeping a close eye on.
You saw that.
The Texans. The Texans schedule is intriguing to us for a certain reason, and you have a prediction about their year. It has nothing to do with wins and losses. What's that, Mr. Rose?
So you know how much I love Deshaun Watson. Shout to Warwick Dunn. Been rooting for the young man since I saw his family get a house back in the day via Warwick's foundation and wanting him to do well via Clemson. And all of a sudden he made it to the league and became an elite quarterback, and he got a chance to play with DeAndre Hopkins. And they was balling. They was killing it. They was even beating the Chiefs, Jacoby, before they lost the game. And in the offseason, their coach trades his guy, one of the top players in the league. I have a prediction. I was looking at their schedule, and I don't do too much of that. And you know what came out of me staring at their schedule that I have not heard discussed? Bill O'Brien in trouble. He in trouble. Patrick Mahomes, opening week, reigning Super Bowl champions. No doubt about it. You got Lamar, reigning MVP. For some reason, people don't talk about him when they talk about the best quarterbacks in the league. He only won MVP last year. Big Ben is back. The Vikings going to continue to feed Dalvin Cook. They're going to beat the Jaguars.
What's your prediction?
The Titans. They might lose to they're not getting over 2 wins. So, therefore, Sunday night after the Packers loss, Bill O'Brien is going to be getting a call. And Adam Schefter is going to be on the ticker at the bottom of ESPN saying Bill O'Brien has been relieved of his duties.
Remember where you heard it first. We don't just report the news that is breaking that just happened. We're reporting news months in advance. Bill O'Brien gets fired after a Week 7 loss to the Packers heading into the bye week. Well, I took a look at another team that we're both very interested in. That's the Detroit Lions schedule. You know, there's always so much hope. You look at the schedule, and you know what? I took a look at this schedule, and I said to myself, that's a really nice graphic. And then I said, wait a second. I see some W's and some L's here. So here's where I see the Lions. All right, we got to start off hot. We're gonna win against the Bears. Big win, week 1, undefeated going into week 2. Loss. Bye week, I'll count that as a loss. And then you beat the Jaguars. That's 2
That's
wins.
not a tough schedule.
Season's
That's
not
not
over.
a tough schedule.
And then we got loss, and then we got loss, and then win, and then loss. To finish out the season, we got loss. So this is 3-13 again, Jalen Rose. How do you feel about those predictions?
You're not accurate with your predictions, sir. And if they would have gave me a chance to do the schedule, acknowledge the schedule. Let me just tell you something. You ready for this, Jacoby? That's an easy schedule. I mean, I'm excited about it.
You think at the end of the season you'll have a better record than the Packers, than the Vikings, than the Bears? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say, again, they're going to be the worst team in the division. Easy schedule, not an easy schedule. It does not matter. And you know this. Should have picked Tua.
The Packers will win the division. The Lions will be second. Remember, I told you. We're going to hover around.
Okay.
So here's what I do every year when I see the schedule. 11-5. 11-5. It don't even matter who we will play.
I love your love for the Lions. And Jalen, not only do we have the hope of live sports in our future, we have actual exciting live sports in our future. This weekend, UFC 249 is almost here. And there's a great card up and down the entire thing, but the focus of this will be a very exciting fight between Ferguson and Gaethje, 2 fighters that just stand in the middle of the octagon and just exchange blows. They won't be dancing around trying to put somebody in an arm bar or something. Like, this won't be one of those break it up guys. Let's see some action. This is going to be so much fun this weekend, and I can't wait.
So, Jacoby, this is one of those fights that if you're trying to turn your kids on to sports, you might not want to watch this with them initially. Are you going to have them watching the fight with you? Because there's going to be a lot of blood, knees to the face. I know it's late at night, but I'm just saying.
Kids are going to bed. If you're on the West Coast, still put your kids to bed. They don't want to see this. There'd be a lot of blood. My wife is not going to want to see this either.
These are the type of fights where it shows me why I didn't do certain things for a living and why I'm scared of those guys. Can't wait.
We get UFC 249 this weekend, and we also get The Last Dance. Jalen and I have already seen the episodes. We won't spoil it, but we'll tease it right after this. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby, Jalen Rose. One thing that's been sort of a silver line to this quarantine has been The Last Dance documentary. Every Sunday, all sports fans get together and get the latest 2 installments. Then after that, of course, they listen to Jalen and Jacoby, the after show, with the director of The Last Dance, Jason Hare, and Jalen and myself. But there is someone who's not joining everybody and watching. Pat Ewing. Pat Ewing had this to say about how he's enjoying The Last Dance. Quote, I had to live through that. I had to live through him and all the battles that we had to go through. And now y'all have a documentary to keep rubbing it in my face. Jalen, you had to live through it. You have to watch for work, though. But do you feel a little bit of what he's trying to tell you because of having to live through it yourself?
I do. And the crazy thing is a younger audience is getting exposed to Michael Jordan. But that is happening with me playing basketball. They're like, you had a bald head? You played against Michael Jordan? We remember when Kobe Bryant dropped 81 on you, but you was in the league then? And the thing about that, Jacoby, is that's not a fond memory. I'm not enthusiastic about talking about that story. We lost the game. Now, if we had won and I got a ring, that's the only thing I will ever want to talk about. Like somebody would be massaging my feet while I was doing this show currently. I promise you. And I would be wearing the ring all of the time. And so since I didn't get one and we're celebrating all-time greatness like so many people he kept from getting championship rings, I'm with PE on this one.
And Patrick Ewing is one of those players. I mean, we've mentioned them before. There's a long list of players in Malone and Stockton and Gary Payton and Sean Kemp. But Patrick Ewing is one of those players that were it not for Michael Jordan, he would have a ring. I don't think he would be getting his feet massaged right now while he does a television show, but he would have a ring. And Michael Jordan has some great memories in Madison Square Garden. He's got better memories of Madison Square Garden than most people that play. Let's be honest.
The first one I call it twinkle toes. The second one is just nasty. And I can't help to acknowledge how the Knicks just did Spike Lee so foul. He's been with them since day one. He helped give Michael Jordan street cred. Youngsters. Patrick Ewing was, yes, sir.
It is time for you to take us behind the curtain. You never called me sir before on the show. I kind of like the sound of that, Jay. Let's go back to that. That was good. I liked when you called me sir on the show. Well, Sam Smith famously wrote Jordan Rules, told a story of these Bulls that we've all been watching The Last Dance that I found absolutely fascinating. He said that after Horace Grant had bad games, Michael Jordan would not let him eat. He would tell the staff of the plane that Horace Grant cannot be served. I find this preposterous, impossible to execute, and just insane. Take us behind the curtain. Is this even possible?
It is possible. And the one thing I want the current fan, supporter, follower, player of the league to know is there was an era where a lot of bullying took place. A lot of hazing took place within sports on all levels. High school, there was an initiation, going to the locker room, pull a pillow over the guy's head, and just pelt him with stuff. It happened. We saw some horror stories down south with a couple of bands where members were killed via hazing. It was just a climate then. Michael Jordan understood that he needed Horace Grant to play at his maximum if they were going to be great. And so in his mind, that was his way of encouraging him to be the best version of himself. Now, remember, these are all multimillionaires. It's not like he was starving to the point he was homeless and he could not get a meal. It was just the circumstance of the fact. When you perform, you eat good. That's what I take away from this.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.